Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on your time zone and depending from where you're watching us from. This is Biafra Watchman TV, week one. I believe you guys know her, Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala. When I came across this video she made, she was, sort of, sensitizing or telling people who are well-to-do in Igbo land, the billionaires and the millionaires we have in Igbo land, educating and sensitizing them on the need to come to develop Ali Igbo. He talked about how Rockefeller, this Rothschild family, there's this project, they are going all over the world, mostly in the developing nation, to establish energy like solar. So she herself is trying to, make sure that Ali Igbo tap from this opportunity. So in this video, she's calling on well-meaning all these billionaires we have in Igbo land to come, to come together so that they will put heads together to see how they can, tap from this opportunity. But the gospel truth and the truth of the matter is that this thing, it will not, is dead on arrival because Nigeria, number one, Nigeria is not designed to succeed. And the eastern region in Nigeria is not designed to succeed collectively. They must sabotage this project. It's a done deal. It has failed on arrival. Imagine in the whole of Eastern regions, there is no federal presence there. There is no federal institution in the whole of Eastern region. Even the Niger Delta, a place they call Niger Delta, all the whole oil, the oil companies there, their head office is either in Lagos or Abuja. NMPC, the head office in Abuja. So you will discover that that region is just meant to be, to be extracting what is in that region, to be extracting what is in that region, develop that region, to carry that region along is not in the agenda of Nigeria, right from ab initio. So this vision, this thing, this idea, or this project, Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala is calling on Igbo billionaires to come together so that they can see if they can tap from this opportunity. Practically impossible. The whole of Eastern region, there is no international airport. When I mean international, a functional international airport. You see this Enugu, no flight can leave Enugu and land either Guangzhou or New York or anywhere in the world. It must transit either Lagos or Abuja before leaving. It must. What about seaports? The other time, Alex Oti proposed that he will use Abia State money to build seaports. You see, they played politics. And the strategic in Nigeria, they just all those things that will make other regions, especially Eastern region, they develop, they now put it in what they call exclusive list. In other words, even if you have your people at heart, even if you have your state at heart, exclusive list will deprive you from executing such project. They will tell you this project, man, is for federal government alone. It's for federal government alone. Are we talking about state? Are we not talking about road? Federal road. We'll tell you this one is federal road. And they will not build it. If they want to contract the road, they will look for their puppet over there, give the person penny, the person will pocket the money. At the end of the day, they will not carry out the project. We all heard how they gave the contract of virtually all the whole federal roads in the Southeast. The truth of the matter is this, the money they gave him or they allocated for those roads will not build the road to finish. They will be a greedy fellow. They are. They will pocket the money, build some, just few kilometers of road to fulfill all righteousness. This has been the modus of operandi there. So what she's proposing in this video is a very good distance, but in Nigeria, practically impossible. Look at how they militarize everywhere, checkpoints everywhere. Even in northern part of Nigeria, where Boko Haram, we are all over the world, they know that this place is a no-go area. Even some nations are advising their citizens not to go that side. There's no checkpoint there. But look at down east, checkpoints everywhere. They are extorting and looting our people. How can an investor come in such an environment? Even the governors themselves or politicians themselves, they are not answerable to themselves or to the people. Rather, they are answerable to the people. The handlers in Abuja. They can't on their own decide we want to do this thing. There's a video I saw. You will still watch the video. Northern governor said nothing like English language. Don't be surprised it will stand. In Yoruba land, their Oduduwa national anthem, all of them knows how to sing it. Even Oduduwa, there was a time governor of Oyo State, I think so, made it mandatory that they will be singing Oduduwa national anthem. The other day, they opened their Oduduwa building. P2B went there. Although P2B cannot associate himself with anything that has to do with Biafra. Rather, he will tell you that Biafra is dead. He is dead 50-something years ago. So you see the mentality of the people who occupy some leadership positions in the eastern part of Nigeria. They are not accountable to themselves, not even to the people. They are accountable to their masters. So this thing Ngozi is proposing here, man, is dead on arrival. Look at the one that called himself the sixth citizen, deputy speaker, how he was bragging that he cannot be the sixth citizen. And his state, Labour Party, is in charge that in the next election, he will do everything possible to make sure that APC took over the state. Now, he's not talking about the interest of the people now. He's not talking about the will of the people. Do people want APC? No. All he's doing is just to please his masters. So you want to tell me that in this kind of mentality and environment, that this project, and Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, not Orabeze, Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, is proposing will flourish. It cannot. No long talk. When I listen to what she said, please hit the bell icon, the notification, so that each time I drop this video, you will get the message as have. Subscribe, like, share to different platforms you belong. Let's move to the permanent site. Very soon we will get there. I greet you all. Peace and love. One love.
Roads, and we have state roads. The federal government has privatized electricity generation and distribution, yet things have not really improved as much as we would like because of discontinuities in the system. But I see this privatization as an opportunity Southeasterners can seize to improve the situation in the region. One of our foremost citizens, Professor Barton Naji, has already shown what one man's ingenuity and drive can do. He may not have got it all right, but he has shown how we can try to solve some of our problems in the power sector. Now that the world is moving to renewables because of climate change, we also have the opportunity to move to off-grid solar solutions for our rural areas, while still looking to see how we use our gas for urban and industrial purposes. The Rockefeller Foundation in New York, together with some partners, is working on solar and battery storage solutions that can attack energy poverty in developing countries. They are looking at working in Nigeria. Can we attract them to the Southeast? Let me dwell on a few other opportunities we can seize to develop economic activity in the region. Our biggest resource in the Southeast is our human resources. Ndị Igbo dị entrepreneurial. Anyị ma alụ ọlụ. Anyị ma ịzụ afịa. Some of the biggest entrepreneurs and industrialists in Nigeria are Igbos. Many micro, medium, and small enterprises that thrive in Nigeria, West Africa, and elsewhere are run by Ndibo. Have you ever been to the market in Niger, Burkina Faso, Cameroon? I have. And these places are full of enterprising Ndibo. Then I ask myself, why is the Southeast looking so shabby? Why is our wealth and industry, apart from Aba and Nnewi, not so visible here in the region? How can we harness this entrepreneurship even better at home? Beyond Innocent, our wonderful brother, and a few others, can we get the several billionaires we have to invest more in the Southeast so that we can create decent jobs for our young people right here? Can we get beyond our individual beautiful mansions in our villages to make our Landibo lovable and livable? How can we have an apprenticeship model that a scholar recently described as, quote, the largest business incubator platform in the world, with apprentices emerging with skills, experience, and also startup capital, close quote, and still see our young people desperate on the streets of Onitsha, Lagos, and every small and large city in between? I want to suggest right away that we convene a Southeast Investment Forum, not for people from outside the region or abroad, but for our own Igbo business people. In this forum, we should examine what is blocking greater investment in the Southeast region and what we can do to lift these blockages. Only after this should we do a Southeast Investment Forum where we can attract outside foreign investors. Let me use this occasion to also let you know that yes, there are investors that can be attracted. This is a very important moment in the world where investors abroad are seeking to diversify their supply chains due to the vulnerabilities they've seen as a result of the pandemic and the war in Ukraine and the ravages of climate change. Certain supply chains are being considered. Pharmaceuticals, for example, fertilizer, labor-intensive industries, and yes, technology. The question for us in the Southeast is, can we attract any of this supply chain diversification? Technology is where the world is moving to. Artificial intelligence is what the world is talking about now, and it is exploding. We already have so many of our young Southeasterners involved, from fintech to electric motorcycles. From where I sit at the WTO, we can see that technology and digital are critical. The fastest growing segment of trade is digital trade, especially digitally driven services trade. When I talk about digitally driven services trade, this means anything from streaming music and movie services to delivering accounting and backup medical services. Digitally delivered services trade is growing at 8% per annum compared to 5.6% for goods trade. We have the human resources, the trained professionals to benefit from digitally delivered services trade. We also have the creative industries, film and music, centered in Onitsha and elsewhere, that can become part of this trade. What we need is to build a digital backbone in the state, either through cable or satellite, to provide the appropriate digital infrastructure. This kind of investment is better done at scale. So I hope, Excellencies, that you can get together to figure out who to approach and how the supportive policies can be implemented to attract this kind of digital infrastructure investment. Digital trade for micro, medium, and small enterprises, online education, health and accounting services can provide good jobs and incomes for our young people. Enugu is already becoming something of a hub for tech and digital in the region. I wonder whether we can build on this to develop our own Enugu Valley, as I know other Nigerian states are working on their version of Silicon Valley, California. Regarding pharmaceutical supply chains, the Federal Minister of Health, Dr. Mohammed Pate, is working on this to attract this supply chain to Nigeria. I suggest that as a region you approach him to see if you can work together to attract vaccines, therapeutics, or diagnostics manufacturing facilities here to the Southeast. Aba is already a manufacturing hub, along with Nnewi. What goes on in Ariaria industrial market, despite the infrastructure and other challenges, never ceases to amaze me. They can label what they produce made in Italy, made in Korea, made in Japan, but the truth is, it's made in Aba. I know Governor Abia has his sights set on trying to improve what is happening and improve the environment for those working in Aba. Again, can we all work together to build up and build out both Aba and Nnewi as industrial hubs? But let me say there is no reason why factories can not also be located in Owerri and Abakaliki. Let me touch on another important resource we have that we can make better use of. That is the large Igbo diaspora. I was surprised when I took an informal poll of a gathering of people in my village, Umudisi in Umuahia, to see how many families had at least one member in the diaspora. Surprised to find that almost everybody put up their hands. The Southeast has one of the largest diasporas in Nigeria, if not Africa. There are Igbos everywhere, from Douala to Durban, London to Leipzig, New York to Newfoundland. Igbos are highly educated professionals, university professors, doctors, lawyers, engineers, accountants, and nurses, and also big sports stars in football and basketball in the USA in particular. All are willing to support the development of the region if they could find a stress-free way to contribute, and I mean stress-free. Drawing on these diaspora resources, there is no reason why the Southeast could not become a service hub for education or health in the country and the region. Let our professors help develop high-quality schools, and universities, building on education investments already happening in the region to attract people beyond the Southeast. And let our diaspora doctors build up specialist hospitals that can draw people from other parts of Nigeria, West and Central Africa and beyond. I happen to know that many of these diaspora doctors would like to help. My husband is one of them. It may sound far-fetched, but I'm convinced we can make the Southeast a services hub for education and health services. We can also draw on the diaspora for financing. I don't know how many of you recall that when I was finance minister, Nigeria floated a diaspora bond of $300 million, a first for the country. Drawing on the resources of our diaspora, though we also opened up the bond to other investors, we were able to attract hundreds of millions of dollars. Now, the World Bank has recorded almost $21 billion in remittance flows to Nigeria in 2022, about the largest remittance flows in Africa. A significant portion of this must come from Southeasterners abroad. Most of this comes in to support consumption and some forms of investment at home. I'm sure the Southeast governors coming together can do some financial engineering and find a way to float a Southeast Diaspora Bond or Fund to capture some of these flows and channel them towards financing some of these development priorities. I know that support from the federal government Ministry of Finance will be needed. It seems to me that we can pitch this to the incoming team. They seem to be open to fresh ideas, so why don't we try to muster their support? You will notice that I've not dwelt on agriculture or natural resources. This is because that is where we always go first when we are talking about opportunities in the region, forgetting all the other possibilities that I've just spoken about. But I have not forgotten that we have big opportunities in agriculture, oil and gas, and some other minerals, some of which may now be in demand as the world seeks to decarbonize and get to net zero carbon emissions in 2050. But again, to fully make use of this, value-added investments in these areas will need hassle-free bureaucracy and appropriate investment environments. Before I conclude, let me say that many of these opportunities that I mentioned will not prove as attractive if the macroeconomic environment in the country is unstable. Low growth, high inflation, the depreciating naira, and exchange rate volatility make for daunting challenges. The federal government will have to get a handle on overall macroeconomic management for the country to attract both domestic and foreign investment and for the country to grow. They insist they are working on this, and I hope we can see stability soon. In the meantime, Southeast governors must work on the elements they can control, many of them listed above. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, let me conclude by saying that I'm optimistic. Yes, I'm optimistic for the Southeast. Your coming together at this time is a great sign. Our youth and women are vibrant. They are ready to work. They are just waiting for a truly committed leadership. We have what it takes in the Southeast. Let us just get on and do it. Igbo kwedu.
Breaking news. Northern governors reject English language as the official language for teaching in primary and secondary school in the north. Now, this is coming from Niger State Governor Mohammed Umaru. Now, when I saw this news, I was like, what do they expect corpus that is sent to the northern region to use to teach the student? Because it's not everybody that goes to northern region that know how to speak Hausa. So according to them, instead of English language, they are going to be using Hausa as the primary language, yes, to teach in the north. Why English will just be like other subject? That means English will not be the major language again. I think they are making a very big mistake. Why? Because the English language has helped to unify the country. We have different languages in Nigeria. We have about over 200 ethnic groups, and each of them speak different languages. It is the English language that unifies Nigerian to speak just one language. So why is this decision coming from the northern governors, and what could be their reason? Please, if you're watching this video, let's get your opinion in the comment section about this decision from northern state governors. This is what they have come out to say. So they have rejected English language as the primary language in northern schools. That is primary, secondary. But for me, this decision is not a wise one, because the English language has helped us to unify the country. That is why anybody can study in any part of Nigeria. But I don't know why they are coming with this. Is this thing going to result to division? Because the truth is, many persons are saying that it's like Nigeria is going to be divided, and this is what they are trying to do. If you segment these languages like this, and if you go to the east, they start teaching with Igbo, that means nobody can leave another part to study in the Igbo again, in the Igbo land again. And this is what we call division in disguise. Drop your opinion concerning this their decision, and make sure you share it so that more persons will see it. Let's know what they have to say. Let's go.